Good morning friends, welcome to the online class of Vajirao and Reddy, as we all do current affairs in a weekly session. So this week also we are going to cover a lot of topics which happened in the previous week. We will be covering about this organization called as Sark, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Then we will also be covering BIMSTEC along with it. Then the parliament has passed the energy conservation bill. We will talk about that as well. What are the provisions, what are the amendments, what were the existing provisions of that bill. Then India has also submitted its LEDS. LEDS means these are long term qualitative goals which India wants to pursue with respect to environment conservation. Then Iran has been voted out of UN Women and India abstained on that voting. We will discuss about that. UAE, France and UK, they have said that they want India to be the permanent member of United Nations Security Council. We will be discussing about that as well. So apart from it, there are more important news and more important terms which we are going to discuss in this week's session. Without wasting any time, let us begin today's lecture. Now, the first topic which we are going to pick up is Sark. Sark basically stands for South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and South Asia basically means 8 countries, and obviously India is one of them. These 8 countries basically Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal here, then we have Bhutan here, then Bangladesh over here, then Sri Lanka in the south and Maldives in southwest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 countries are part of South Asia, and these 8 countries are part of Sark, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Okay. Now, why this was in news? Because this organization was formed in 1985, and on 15th of December, the first summit happened in Dhaka. Okay. So that is why this was in news. So members of Sark, these 8 are members of Sark. Why was this in news? Because in 1985 the first summit of Sark happened. That is why it is in news. About Sark, the composition, if I talk about, it is an intergovernmental organization and geopolitical union of 8 South Asian countries founded on December 8, 1985 in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The first summit happened in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and Bangladesh was very much instrumental in getting this particular organization formed. Bangladesh wanted it to get formed, but there were many apprehensions with respect to this organization. Now, if you read class 12th NCERT Political Science Part 1, in that book it is clearly mentioned about this. Since the 1970s, Bangladesh as a country was formed in 1971. Since the 1970s only, Bangladesh was pitching for this organization, and India was in favor of this organization to be formed. But there were a lot of apprehensions among other small countries of this region, particularly Pakistan and Sri Lanka, Nepal. The apprehension was that India, being a dominant player in the region, will dominate in Sark, and India will further subjugate you, it will dominate you. So there is no point of forming this organization. But it was Bangladesh who convinced all the members and said that we need this organization. We need this organization because this region, South Asian region, the 8 countries which we discussed, is one of the most poorest regions of the world, one of the most densely populated regions of the world, and one of the most loosely connected region of the world. It is very less integrated. The countries do not collaborate with each other, they do not trade with each other. Despite the fact that we have a lot of cultural similarities, we have a lot of historical similarities, we do not indulge in too much trade or economic activities with each other. We are very loosely integrated or very loosely connected. One of the most loosely connected regions of the world is South Asia. And this is one of the reasons that why so high poverty and hunger exists in this region. Now, population is high, so means demand for the products can be very high. But demand will happen only when these countries agree to do trade with each other, agree to establish or foster economic relations with each other. Anyways, Bangladesh was instrumental in convincing everyone, and Sark became a reality in 1985. And first summit of Sark happened in Dhaka. But don't get confused, Dhaka is not the headquarters of Sark. The headquarters of Sark is Kathmandu, Nepal. Okay, the first summit happened in Dhaka, but the headquarters is in Kathmandu. Secretariat is located in Kathmandu, Nepal. Now, objective, the prime focus of Sark is to work collectively to promote the welfare of the people in the region and to improve their standard of living. And summits, the Sark summits are usually held biennially, means once in 2 years, and hosted by member states only, and in alphabetical order it is hosted. It has organized 18 summits since 1985. The last summit happened in 2014, and 2016 also a summit was scheduled in Pakistan, but it did not happen. It did not happen. Why? Because Pakistani terrorists, they did this Uri attack in India, and once this attack was done by these terrorists, India said that we are not going to participate in the Sark summits. India did not participate, the Sark summit did not happen. Other countries also did not participate. 2016 it was scheduled, but it did not happen, and since 2016 it has not happened. This particular organization is dormant right now. Dormant means it is active on paper, it has not been dissolved, but no summits are happening like they were happening until 2014. 2014 was the last. 2016 summit was scheduled in Pakistan but did not happen due to Uri attacks. So, firstly, very loosely integrated this region. Then, Sark was formed with many efforts, and now it has been, I would say dormant. It is not functioning as of now. So, this is basically the story of Sark. Now, the present status of Sark countries, basically Sark is with 21% of the world's population is living in these 8 countries, which is very high, I would say, and gross GDP of approx $3 trillion. This GDP is very less. Okay, been in existence for 38 years, but its influence as compared to other regional cooperations such as European Union, ASEAN and African Union is lacking. These organizations, they have made considerable impacts on the economic well-being of the people of the member countries, the social well-being of the people of the member countries, but Sark's impact was nowhere near to the impact caused by these organizations. Then, despite the close age-old geographical, historical, cultural, social and economic ties, Sark is currently considered as the least integrated regional cooperation. Despite of the fact that we have this much, commonalities, similarities, this region, but we are least integrated. A few achievements of Sark, ऐसा नहीं है कि Sark is dysfunctional, Sark is having all the flaws. There are some achievements also, and one such achievement is South Asian Free Trade Agreement. Free Trade Agreement is an agreement in which the members of that agreement agree that we will be trading goods by reducing the tariffs. When you trade goods from one country to the other country, let's suppose A country to the B country. Let's suppose I am exporting this pen is of 100 rupees in A country. So, when I export it to country B, So country A will levy export duty of, let's suppose, rupees 10. Country B will levy import duty, let's suppose, of rupees 15. And when this pen enters country B, so 100 plus 10, 110 plus 15, 125 rupees will be the cost. Now in a free trade agreement, these tariffs or these duties are either reduced or they are zero, so that the products become more competitive for exports, and this will eventually lead or to increase in exports, increase in trade. Okay. So this is a free trade agreement, and we've discussed at length about free trade agreements in the previous classes as well, but the basics of free trade agreements, since many of you have joined new, is this: reducing the tariffs to increase trade. Okay. So now the South Asian countries collectively have come into a free trade agreement in 2006, and this was one such, I would say, feather in the cap of Sark countries, one such achievement of Sark. Okay. SAFTA it was called as, South Asian Free Trade Agreement. In 2006 it came. Sark Development Fund was formulated for development of infrastructure in the Sark countries. Integrated Program of Action was launched in 2012. Sark satellite was launched, and ISRO was instrumental in launching the Sark satellite. No meeting of Sark has taken place since 2014, already discussed. 2016 it was scheduled, but Uri happened, so the meeting did not happen. Now, why South Asia is loosely connected? The reasons, we've talked at length about it, that it is loosely connected, Why it is loosely connected? The first reason is lack of political will. We are not, the political leaders are not ready to connect with each other, are not ready to integrate with each other. Okay. So this is basically the lack of political will of India and Pakistan largely, not other countries. Okay. Now you might see that the politicians have tried multiple times from both the sides, from India and Pakistan, but their efforts were foiled by either the army of Pakistan, the ISI, the terrorist outfits there, and if they were moving ahead, both the politicians, and taking their countries forward, some or the other event happened from Pakistan's side, and all the efforts went in vain. And now clearly the stand of the Indian political establishment is that terror and talks cannot go hand in hand. They simply give this statement: you gave up on terror, we'll come up with talks, else we are not doing any diplomatic relations with you. So this is the clear cut, I would say, stand of the government of India. Then Indo-Pak rivalry, we all know about this rivalry, which started from 1947. We fought multiple wars: 1947-48 the first war, 1965 the second war, 71 the third war, Kargil the fourth, and all have been convincingly won by India. And now Pakistan, the terrorists in Pakistan region have decided that they will resort to proxy wars. They know that they cannot win a full scale war, they've seen on 4 occasions. Now they have resorted to proxy wars, that is terrorism. Okay. So that is basically the I would say the hallmark of India-Pakistan rivalry. Okay. And in between is Kashmir. Kashmir is the main issue. Both of these countries want Kashmir, aspire for Kashmir. Then terrorism. This region, Afpak region, Afghanistan, Pakistan, is basically the hub of terrorists. It has been proven multiple times, and now no need to prove it time and again. And Financial Action Task Force, which is a body, it is an international body. The responsibility of that body is to see that money laundering does not happen. FATF had put Pakistan in grey list because Pakistan was under suspicion that the government of Pakistan is sponsoring terrorism. Terrorism is being state sponsored. So, no funding can be given to Pakistan by World Bank, IMF, things like these were there when Pakistan was listed in the grey list. Okay. So, this is basically the perception about Pakistan and terrorism with respect to Pakistan. Then lack of economic integration. Lack of economic integration. SAFTA though launched in 2006, but it did not turn out to be the way it had to be. The gross GDP of Sark nations is $3 trillion, which is not so high. Okay. It is one of the most emerging development regions of the world though. But enormous market demand of the world across the sectors such as industry, services like hospitality and IT, agriculture, health have not been met with similar thrust by Sark nations, and this has resulted in market exploitation by China. China has come in this region and exploited the market. These countries have not exploited. These countries are dependent upon China for trade and they are not trading among themselves. Now, the recent developments in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the situation in Afghanistan has deteriorated after the Taliban has took over. So, that has become a natural, I would say, Afghanistan has become a natural ally for Pakistan, particularly the terrorist groups based in Pakistan. They are happy that in Taliban, in Afghanistan, people like us are ruling. People with similar ideology, similar mindsets are ruling. So, their activities have got an uplift. So, this is basically one such reason, and whatever hopes, minimalistic hopes were there, they have also been shattered by this event, Taliban taking over Afghanistan. Then China's diplomacy, the last point. China actually wanted to be a member of Sark, but India was not allowing China to be a member of Sark, and China was irked by this, and China was doing a lot of activities which was being problematic with these countries. In Sark, it was causing a lot of disturbances just because of the fact that it was not allowed to be a member of Sark. Okay. So, this is one such. Now, Sark we all know is not functional the way it has to be. Sark is not integrated. No summits have happened since 2014. So, there is another organization in this region which is being considered as an alternate to this. Okay. And that organization is BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. Now, in BIMSTEC, if you see the countries, you will see the member countries as India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. These are the member countries in and Sri Lanka as well in BIMSTEC. Now, if you see and compare BIMSTEC with Sark, Sark mein you had Pakistan, Afghanistan also. So, BIMSTEC is equal to Sark minus Afghanistan, Pakistan plus Myanmar and Thailand. Myanmar and Thailand are basically part of Southeast Asia. They are not part of South Asia. They are part of Southeast Asia. And that is why BIMSTEC is important, because BIMSTEC is basically a combination of South Asia and Southeast Asia. Okay. So, this is why it is important for us, and BIMSTEC is being seen as a replacement for Sark. India's engagement in BIMSTEC over the years have increased much since 2016, I would say. Okay. So this is basically BIMSTEC. It is an intergovernmental organization which was established in 1997, comprising 5 South Asian nations, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and 2 Southeast Asian nations, that is Myanmar and Thailand. Okay. Housing 1.73 billion people and having a combined GDP of rupees 4.4 trillion, or so not rupees, USD 4.4 trillion, and Sark had a combined GDP of 3 trillion. Okay. So this is there. It aims to create an enabling environment for rapid economic development, accelerate social progress and promote collaboration, okay, on matters of common interest in the region. This is basically what BIMSTEC is about. Opportunities by BIMSTEC. If I highlight the opportunities by BIMSTEC, basically link between South Asia and Southeast Asia. It is BIMSTEC is the link between South Asia and Southeast Asia, as we discussed. Okay. And India has this policy, the Look East policy, which was now converted in 2014 to the Act East policy. So it is also instrumental in fulfilling that particular policy of India, BIMSTEC, because in Act East policy we want to integrate with the East Asia. East Asia starts from Myanmar, okay, and BIMSTEC has included Myanmar and Thailand as well. Okay. Then BIMSTEC also aligns with India's Act East policy, told you that, and India in the recent years have been moving its diplomatic energy away from Sark to BIMSTEC, which has resulted in BIMSTEC finally adopting its charter earlier this year. Now a lot of activities are happening in BIMSTEC, this organization. Now non-disruptive functioning, because Sark was causing in Sark, Pakistan was causing a lot of disruptions, but this is not the case happening in BIMSTEC. So functioning is smooth, it is non-disruptive, no such, I would say, disturbing elements like Pakistan are members of BIMSTEC, and that is why it is gaining more and more prominence. Then more accommodative grouping. Now Sark was a closed grouping, we do not want more countries to be part of it, but this BIMSTEC is more accommodative, it is more open to more and more members. There might be a possibility that Maldives also becomes a member of BIMSTEC, other countries in Southeast Asian region become part of BIMSTEC, can be a possibility in the times to come. Okay. So this is basically about BIMSTEC and Sark. Sark losing its importance, BIMSTEC gaining its importance. Next is Cyclone Mandus. You might have all heard about this cyclone coming in the southern part of the country, causing a lot of devastation. Okay. Now we need to understand that what a cyclone is. Okay. How does it come? Okay. And what are the conditions for the cyclone to come? For that we will go to this is Earth, equator, (23.5° north, 23.5° south). This is Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Capricorn. Okay. Now cyclones occurring in this region from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, this region is called as the tropics. The cyclone is called as tropical cyclone because it is emerging in tropics. If the cyclone emerges beyond the tropics, it is called as extratropical cyclone. So two types of cyclones, tropical cyclone and extratropical cyclone. Now where is India? India is there in the Tropic of Cancer region, because Tropic of Cancer passes through India, 23.5° north. It passes through 8 states in India: Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tripura and Mizoram. So this is passing through India, so definitely tropical cyclones will come and impact India, not extra tropical. Okay. So this Mandus was a tropical cyclone. Now winds in this, because winds have a profound impact on the direction of cyclone which the cyclone follows, or the cyclone flows in which direction of wind, in which direction, in that direction in which the winds are flowing. Winds are flowing in this direction from east to west. These are called as easterlies. Okay. So as of now we have known that, you know, what are the tropics? Cyclones happening in the tropics are called as tropical cyclones. Cyclones happening beyond tropics are called as extratropical cyclones. The winds flowing in the tropics are from east to west, which are called as easterlies. Okay. Now this is India. This Tropic of Cancer is passing through India. Okay. And you know, cyclones, what are cyclones? We will learn now. For a cyclone to get formed, basically some conditions are there. First such condition is that the sea surface temperature should be beyond 27 degrees Celsius. More than 27 degrees Celsius the temperature should be there. If the temperature will be high, then a low pressure zone will be formed. So formation of a low pressure zone is important. Then upward flow of wind should be there. Okay. Large areas of water supply should be there, because a cyclone will only survive until it will keep on getting the water supply. As soon as the water supply is cut, the cyclone falls. Means if a cyclone has generated over here and it is coming towards this, so whenever this cyclone comes in contact with the land, it will dissipate, it will be over, because you know, here the water supply is there from the oceans, but now here the water supply is stopped, so cyclone will dissipate. It is called as the fall of the cyclone. Okay. So a low pressure zone should be there, temperature of more than 27 degrees Celsius should be there, wind should be flowing, large areas of water supply should be there for a cyclone to get formed. Now we will see how cyclone actually gets formed. Now let us suppose this is this Bay of Bengal region. Okay. Now sea surface temperatures have reached 27 degrees Celsius. Okay. And a low pressure has been formed, because when temperatures will be high, pressure will be low, and temperatures will be low, pressures will be high, they are inversely proportional. A low pressure zone has been formed and a high pressure zone is here as compared to this low pressure. Okay. So the winds, they will blow from high pressure to low pressure due to this pressure gradient or pressure difference. Yes. So winds, let us suppose from this point the wind is flowing in this direction. Okay. This is basically the pressure gradient force through which, you know, due to which the wind is blowing from high pressure to low pressure. Now the wind will not only blow in this direction straight, it will not blow, because there is another force which is acting on the winds, and that force is called as the Coriolis Force. Coriolis Force is a force which is acting due to rotation of the earth. Earth is rotating, let us suppose you are here, you will be experiencing this particular force, the Coriolis Force. The Coriolis Force basically towards the right in northern hemisphere and towards the left in southern hemisphere is experienced, and this Coriolis force is nothing but a force experienced due to rotation of the earth, like this. Okay. So this Coriolis force will be acting, India is in northern hemisphere, so Coriolis force, the right of this force is this direction, the Coriolis force will be acting in this direction, and the resultant is basically this direction. Okay. Now again, if I consider at this point, pressure gradient force from high pressure to low pressure will be acting here. The right of this is this, the right of this is this. So, Coriolis force in this direction and the resultant force basically in this direction. Then again, if I consider this point, from here the pressure gradient force acting this way, and Coriolis force acting towards the right of this direction, right of this direction is this, and the resultant force will be here. Now if I consider this point, pressure gradient force this, the right of this is this, this is the Coriolis force acting on this point, the resultant force is this. So if you see the blue arrows, you will find that it is basically the actual direction of the cyclonic winds which are blowing in this direction. This is anti-clockwise. Okay. So, and the cyclones will always rotate in anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and in the clockwise direction in southern hemisphere. So, why clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere? Because this Coriolis force will be acting towards the left in southern hemisphere. So, this will get reversed here, this Coriolis force will be acting upwards, this will be acting that way, this Coriolis force will be acting down, and the resultant directions will be clockwise in southern hemisphere. So, a tropical cyclone coming in northern hemisphere will always be rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Reason you know why now, because of the Coriolis force. The flow of a cyclone in tropics, since the winds are blowing in this direction east to west, will always be flowing east to west. So, a cyclone generated over here, okay, will be rotating in anti-clockwise direction, coming towards India, and as soon as it lands, makes a landfall, it will dissipate, moving from east to west. That is why you see that cyclones, maximum cyclones will come on the eastern coast of India. The western coast of India seldom receives any cyclone. I will not say that zero cyclones have come. In 2014-15, I think there was a cyclone named as Cyclone Okhi, OKHI, which came on the western coast of India. But actually it generated here and it was flowing in this direction only, east to west, because it flows with the direction of the wind, east to west. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, the direction of the winds changed and it struck the western coast in Mumbai, near Mumbai. But largely 99% of the cases, 99.9% of the cases, cyclones will strike on the eastern coast of India here. Why? Because winds are blowing from east to west in the tropics. Easterlies are called, they are called as. Okay. So now we know the basics of a cyclone, how a cyclone gets generated, what are the conditions for the cyclone to be generated, why a cyclone moves from east to west in the tropics, because of the winds, they are flowing east to west. Why a cyclone rotates in anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere, we know this. And as soon as the water supply is done away with, cyclone makes a landfall. Now, Cyclone Mandus, basically it is a severe cyclonic storm in the Bay of Bengal and is likely to bring heavy rainfall in the parts of Tamil Nadu on December 9, 2022, and it came. It caused a lot of destruction. Now, about cyclones, if I call, if I say these cyclones are called by different names in different regions, like in the Indian Ocean region where we are, it is called as a cyclone, but nearing Japan, that is the Pacific Ocean over there, it is called as a typhoon. Okay. If it is coming in USA, nearing USA, because a lot of cyclones come there also. It is called as a hurricane over there. Then if it is coming near Australia, it is basically called as Willy Willies in Australia. Okay. So these are the different names. Cyclones are known as typhoons in the China Sea and near Japan and Pacific Ocean, it is written. Hurricanes in the Caribbean Sea and Atlantic Ocean. Tornadoes in Guinea, lands of West Africa. Willy Willies in northwestern Australia, and tropical cyclones in the Indian Ocean region. The concept is the same, phenomena is the same, but just the name is different. Cyclones are caused by atmospheric disturbances around a low pressure area, distinguished by swift and often destructive air circulation. Cyclones are usually accompanied by a violent storm and bad weather. The air circulates inwards in an anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. This is basically the basics of cyclone. Types of cyclone: extratropical, tropical. Tropical cyclones happen in the tropics, extratropical happen beyond the tropics. Okay. According to the World Meteorological Organization, tropical cyclones cover weather systems in which winds exceeds the Gale force. Gale force is 34 knots or 63 kilometers per hour. Okay. And extratropical cyclones occur in temperate zones and high latitude regions. They are known to originate in the polar regions. Okay. So the concept of extratropical cyclones is different from this tropical cyclone. Tropical cyclone needs a low pressure zone, whereas the extratropical cyclones, low pressure zone is, this concept of low pressure zone is not there. Whenever it comes in news, whenever it will be in news, I will be covering the basics of extratropical cyclones as well, don't worry. Next piece of news which we will be covering is basically कृषि उड़े देश का आम नागरिक. ठीक है, कृषि उड़ान. What is this scheme all about? Basically this scheme is that, you know, the agricultural products which are being produced by the farmers, those agricultural products should be transported through air among other modes of transports as well. The share of air transport of agricultural products should increase. Now if the agricultural products are transported through air, then definitely, you know, the transportation time will reduce. Transportation time will reduce. The wastage of agricultural products due to rotting will also reduce, because these products will be reaching their destinations in I would say much less time. And this basically scheme कृषि उड़े देश का आम नागरिक basically is about this. Actually उड़े देश का आम नागरिक उड़ान scheme is basically for affordable air travel for, you know, we the people, and more airports are being opened in the country, and you know, airfare is also capped in उड़े देश का आम नागरिक. If a flight is of less than 1 hour, you cannot charge more than 2,500 rupees, the airlines. It is a mandate, and it is according to this Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. But since Krishi is prefixed with Udan, so here it is not for farmers who will be flying, it is for the farmer products that will be transported from one place to the other place. Okay. So 58 airports will be covered under Krishi Udan scheme 2.0. Krishi Udan scheme 2.0 was announced on 27 October 2001. Krishi Udan 1 was announced in 2020. The main objective of Krishi Udan scheme 2.0 is to increase the share of air carriage in the modal mix of transportation of agri produce, which includes horticulture, fishery, livestock and processed products. The scheme assists farmers in transporting agricultural products so that it improves their value realization. The scheme aims to ensure seamless, cost-effective, time-bound air transportation and associated logistics for all, I would say, agricultural products. There was a similar scheme which was launched by the government of Jammu and Kashmir in July, I guess. The scheme was named as Parvaz scheme, and Jammu and Kashmir basically produces a lot of horticulture products like apples, like saffron, and those products now can be transported via air. Now, waivers given to airlines and ministries involved in this scheme. Now, the airlines have given multiple waivers. Waivers means they have made it free of cost for facilitating and incentivizing movement of agri products by air. Now, what basically waivers have been given? Airport Authority of India provides full waiver of landing, parking, terminal navigation landing charges and route navigation facility charges for Indian freighters and P2C passenger to cargo aircrafts carrying these agricultural products. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has also asked states to reduce the sales tax on aviation turbine fuel. Basically, the states levy sales tax on aviation turbine fuel. The central government has asked the states to reduce that tax so that more and more agricultural products can fly from one place to the other. Basically, 8 departments and ministries are associated with this scheme. Ministry of Civil Aviation, Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Department of Fisheries, Ministry of Food Processing Industries, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Ministry of Development of Northeast Region, and would leverage their existing schemes to strengthen and build transportation for the agri products. Okay. So, this is basically Krishi Udan, and this is not over yet. There is one portal also which the government is building. This portal is called as e-Kushal portal. It is not, the government has not built it, but it is building it. Okay. And it is basically for developing an online platform named as e-Kushal, Krishi Udan for sustainable holistic agri logistics. Now, what will this portal have? This portal will have all the information, and it will facilitate the I would say this particular information to all the stakeholders. Stakeholders means the farmers who want to send their products, the people who want to buy those products. So, the airlines who will transport these products, all the information with respect to those products will be available on this e-Kushal portal. e-Kushal will also assist in coordinating, monitoring and evaluating the Krishi Udan 2.0 scheme, and Ministry of Civil Aviation has also proposed a convergence of e-Kushal with National Agriculture Market, that is e-NAM platform. Okay. So, this is basically about the this particular scheme. Now, next piece of news is the national party status. The national party status, why this was in news? Because Aam Aadmi Party has received this recognition of a national party status. Now, you need to understand one thing, that whenever any party, any person wants to contest elections, that person and wants to form a party. So, anyone can form a party, everyone has the right to form a political party, a fundamental right is there. Okay. But so that person, what will that person do? That person will first register the political party with Election Commission of India. Now, after registration, it will be eligible for contesting the elections. After contesting the elections and the results, when they come, the party will be recognized or unrecognized. As if a party is recognized, if a party is unrecognized, so theek hai, it's okay. But if a party is recognized, it can be recognized at 2 levels. First is as a state party, second is as a national party. Now, Aam Aadmi Party was earlier a state party. Now, after the Gujarat election results have come, it has been recognized as a national party. It was earlier a state party, now it has been recognized as a national party. Why, how, what is the criteria for being recognized as a state party? What is the criteria for being recognized as a national party? What are the benefits of being recognized as a national party for any political party? How many national parties are there in India? We'll all cover in this particular section. Now, for this blue box, we'll come later. What do you mean by a national party? National party basically, as the name suggests, one can understand that a national party has presence all over the country. Okay? And a state party's presence is restricted to a particular state or very few states. Okay? National parties are usually India's bigger parties like Indian National Congress, Bharatiya Janata Party and all. Okay? However, some smaller parties have also been recognized as national parties. Now, with the inclusion of AAP, there are 9 national parties in the country presently. Okay? Now, a certain stature is sometimes associated with being a national party, and this does not necessarily translate into having a lot of national political clout. There are some political parties who have a lot of national political clout but are not national parties, they are still state parties. Okay? Like DMK, BJD, DMK in Tamil Nadu, BJD, Biju Janata Dal in Odisha, these are state parties, but they have considerable amount of national clout. Okay? So, this is basically national parties, I would say, general perception among the public or among the aspirants, but actually there is a criteria. If the party is fulfilling the criteria, then only that party will be termed as a national party. Now, a registered party is recognized as a national party only if it fulfills any one of these criteria. Any one has to be fulfilled. Okay. The party wins 2% of the seats in Lok Sabha from at least 3 different states. Next, at a general election to Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly, the party polls 6% of votes in any 4 or more states, and in addition, it wins 4 Lok Sabha seats. Then, the party gets recognition as a state party in 4 states. Now, Aam Aadmi Party has got this recognition as a state party in 4 states, hence it is termed as a national party. Now, what is the recognition criteria for a state party? Any one of the 5 criteria have to be fulfilled by a political party, then that political party will be called as a state party. First is, the party should secure at least 6% of the valid votes polled in an election to that state legislative assembly and win at least 2 seats in that state assembly. The party should secure at least 6% of valid votes polled in an election to Lok Sabha and win at least 1 seat in Lok Sabha. A party should win at least 3% of the total number of seats or a minimum of 3 seats in the legislative assembly whichever is higher. And a party should win at least 1 seat in the Lok Sabha for every 25 seats in Lok Sabha or any fraction thereof allotted to that state. And the last is, it is a liberal criteria that 8% or more of the total valid votes polled should be in the favor of that political party, then that political party will be termed as a state party. Okay. So, Aam Aadmi Party has this criteria fulfilled in Delhi, Punjab, because they won elections over there. Now, in Goa also they contested elections. In Goa they won, they were polled around 6 to 7% of the votes, which was more than 6%. And they won 2 seats. So, according to this criteria, they are a state party in Goa as well. And now in Gujarat, around 13% votes they got and they won 5 seats. So, a state party in Gujarat as well. Okay. So, state party in 4 states, that is Gujarat, Goa, Delhi and Punjab, which makes them a national party. Okay. So that is basically why Aam Aadmi Party got that status. Okay. Benefits of a national party: status, recognition. Whenever a political party gets this recognition of a national party, what are the benefits? Basically, the election symbols are reserved for use by the candidates across the country. They can use this particular symbol Jhadu in the entire country. They are eligible to get land in Delhi to build a party office. Then they can have up to 40 star campaigners instead of the 20 that registered but not recognized political parties are allowed. Registered not recognized political parties are allowed 20 star campaigners, but a national party are allowed 40 star campaigners. Who is a star campaigner? Is a popular vote seeker in an election for a party. There is no law defining the star campaigner. There is no such definition of a star campaigner, but he is a popular figure. They are nominated by the respective political parties and they follow guidelines issued by ECI under Model Code of Conduct. The expenditure on campaign and travel of star campaigner is not added to the candidate's spending limit, because each candidate has a spending limit. But if that candidate is declared as a star campaigner, the expenditure done on his travel, on all other expenses are not counted as, or are not added in that person's account that this person has done this expenditure. How many national parties in India? Actually, there are 9 national parties in India. Now, Aam Aadmi Party has become the 9th national party. There were earlier 8. Okay. The BJP, Congress, Trinamool Congress, CPIM, CPI, then Nationalist Congress Party, Bahujan Samaj Party, Conrad Sangma's National People's Party, NPP. NPP was recognized in 2019. And AAP will become the 9th political party to be recognized as a national party. So, this is all about, we will come to that blue box which I told you. That blue box is nothing but, Aam Aadmi Party is in power with big majorities and very large vote share in Delhi and Punjab. So, it is a state party already over there. In the Goa Assembly elections held in March, it received 6.77% of the vote share and 2 seats in Goa Assembly. So, a state party in Goa also. Then it secured almost 13% vote in recently held Gujarat elections and won 5 seats in Gujarat election. So, a state party in Gujarat also. Now, a state party in 4 states is equal to national party, because it is clearly written that party gets recognition as a state party in 4 states, it will become a national party. This Energy Conservation Amendment Bill, it was basically tabled in Rajya Sabha, and Lok Sabha actually passed it way back in August 2022 in the monsoon session. Okay. But in for Rajya Sabha it was pending, it got introduced, and now Rajya Sabha has also passed it, because yesterday only I was reading a news that the Parliament has passed this Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022. Now, what was the parent bill? The parent bill was the Energy Conservation Act 2001. It was first amended in 2010 and then now amended in 2022. So, we will first cover the provisions of 2001 Act, then what were the changes in 2010, and finally what are the changes in 2022. The 2001 Act was enacted to provide the designated consumers standards and labeling of the appliances. You see 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star appliances. So, that was mandated by this bill. Then this energy conservation building codes, every building, basically government building was given this code, had to follow this code. Creation of institutional setup means Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BEE, which gives the star ratings and all, was established by this act, and establishment of Energy Conservation Fund. Okay. All these were established. These star ratings and all, if you go for buying any electronics, they will say that 5 star, sir, it will consume less electricity, 4 star will consume more electricity as compared to 5-star. So energy conservation is happening. The more star rated products, the more energy conservation will be there. It is basically an upgrade of technology, due to which this energy conservation happens. Now the 2010 amendment, trading of energy saving certificates started. Basically some of the industrial sectors, they were told that you have to you have to conserve energy, you cannot emit more than this amount. Okay. So if you emit less than this amount, you will be given energy saving certificates, you have saved energy. Okay. Chalo. But there were other units also which were emitting more, so it was an obligation on them, if you are emitting more, so you buy energy saving certificates of an equivalent amount, so that it will act as a fine on you, and in future you will try to emit less. This was brought in by the 2010 amendment. Then it expanded the scope of energy conservation norms for buildings, tightened the applicability of energy efficiency norms for appliances and equipments, provided for appeals to be heard by the Electricity Appellate Tribunal, and conferred powers upon the Bureau of Energy Efficiency to appoint officers instead of central government appointing. Now the 2022 amendment, what happened? Mandating use of non-fossil sources. Fossil sources are coal, petroleum. Non-fossil sources has been mandated that this much of electricity consumption you have to do from non-fossil fuel based sources, like renewable energy is one such form of non-fossil fuel source. So it will mandatorily make it compulsory for the industries to use renewable energy, because this is a mandate for them, that this much amount of electricity, let us suppose 20% of electricity consumption which you do should come from non-fossil fuel based, 80% can come from fossil based fuel. So this is established. Then establishing carbon markets, in which basically those industries who are saving on emissions and having this energy saving certificates, they can trade their certificates to with those companies which are emitting more. So proper market will be established. This mechanism was there, but a market was not established. A proper market will be established for this purpose. Okay. Then substitution of the term energy conservation building codes with energy conservation and sustainable building codes. Nothing I would say substantial is happening in this, but this term has been added. Then inclusion of large residential buildings in the energy conservation regime, like apartments and all are there where people stay, and those buildings will be covered under these energy conservation norms. While constructing those buildings, it would be mandatory to follow the energy conservation norms, so that unnecessarily electricity wastage is not done in those large buildings. Okay. Then standards for vehicles and vessels, electric vehicles are coming up nowadays, so standards will be set for them, that this much energy consumption should be there, or this much efficient should be the product. Amendment in penalty provisions. Basically the bill specifies penalties for violation of various provisions of the act, like failure to meet energy consumption norms and standards, or fulfill minimum share of consumption of non-fossil sources, etc. So penalty provisions have been made more stringent. If a company does not obey the norms or obey the provisions of this act, they will be penalized. Then regulatory powers of SERCs. SERCs are basically state electricity regulatory commissions. They have been given more power to penalize, they have been given more power to monitor, so that you look into your state, if any company is violating or if any person is violating norms, you punish them. Expansion of governing council of BEE. BEE is an institutional body which was established under the 2001 Act, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Its strength increased to 31 to 37 from the earlier 20 to 26. Then the state government is empowered to levy fee for services rendered by the designated agency to promote efficient use of energy and its conservation under the Act. So, these are the provisions of 2022 amendment. We are going for more and more energy conservation, because we have to fulfill many goals with respect to environment conservation. We have to fulfill or meet our INDCs by 2030. We have to be a net zero emitter by 2070. Net zero emitter means whatever emissions we will be doing, we will be consuming those emissions by creating carbon sinks. Okay. So, these are basically the provisions of the 2022 amendment bill. Okay. Now, next piece of news, remittances coming to India. Basically, there was a report very recently by World Bank, and that report was titled as Remittances Brave Global Headwinds. And India is set to receive $100 billion as remittances for the first time this year. वैसे India receives 80 to 90 billion dollars every year from the people who have gone out of India and are sending money back to their homes here in India, and that money is coming in dollars. The best part is this. Okay. This remittances is coming in dollars, and which contribute in our forex reserve. And what is remittances? When migrants basically they send home part of their earnings in the form of either cash or goods to support their families. These transfers are known as workers or migrant remittances. They have been growing rapidly in the past few years, and now they represent the largest source of foreign income for many developing economies. Now, India is receiving $100 billion as remittances this year. It generally receives 80 to 90 billion dollars, which is a very big help in our forex reserves. Okay, because that money comes in dollars only. Okay, and which people, the NRIs, the overseas citizens of India, they send that money back to their homes in India. Okay. So, global trend of remittances in 2022, if I talk about, $794 billion remittances in 2022 will go from one country to the other country by the people who are living in other countries and sending back. Out of 794 billion, 100 billion is coming to India. This represents a growth of 4.9% compared to 10.2% in 2021. Of the $794 billion, $626 billion went to low and middle income countries. Obviously, people from low and middle income countries only go to the developed countries and work there and send back money. The top 5 recipient countries this year, India has been on top since 2013-14. Then Mexico, China, Philippines, Egypt. These are the top 5 countries which will be receiving remittances from its own people who have been working abroad. Why remittances are growing with respect to India? Basically, according to World Bank, one of the major reasons is gradual reopening of various sectors in the host countries. So, when economies are opening up, people are sending more and more money that you can invest here in India. So, that is why. Then there is a gradual structural shift. Actually, earlier what used to happen, the I would say blue collared workers, those people who were working in I would say such sectors which those people who were, I would say, laborers or workers who were doing unskilled work, they were sending remittances to India. Like many people from India are in West Asia, they are doing this extraction of oil work, they are on the fields. Those are called as blue collared workers. They were sending remittances. Most of the remittances were sent by them. But now high income workers or skilled workers who are employed in, I would say, IT industry or doctors, engineers, they are sending more. So, Indians are getting more and more employed in the high income sectors or I would say white collar workers they are. So, that is why it is increasing. In fact, in 2016-17 and 2021-22 or 2021, remittances from US, UK and Singapore increased, and here in US, UK and Singapore more white collared workers are there. USA with a share of 23% was the, I would say, India's top source country for remittances in 2020-21. The report also adds that Indian migrants may also have taken advantage of the depreciation of the Indian rupee, because Indian rupee is depreciating, and they might have taken this advantage, and they said they might have started sending more and more money, so that it will translate to more and more Indian rupee, because Indian rupee has depreciated. Okay. Now we will take a break.